Hello readers, welcome to Reading Rainbow. Let's think about your favorite children's stories. Marie Sendak, Mercer Mayer, or Eric Carle, all modern fantasy authors. Let's take a closer look at modern fantasy. Fantasy is fiction that has some aspect defying the laws of nature. It could be talking animals like Charlotte's Web, imaginary worlds like The Wizard of Oz, fanciful characters as in Where the Wild Things Are, or magical beings like Peter Pan.
Modern fantasy authors create extraordinary characters and worlds in which expand and challenge our sense of the norm.
The modern fantasy genre is important because good fantasy actually tells the truth about life. It clarifies the human condition and captures the essence of our deepest emotions, dreams, hopes, and fears. If fantasy does not do these things, it fails.
Children gain insight about many of life's lessons through modern fantasy stories. The insight in modern fantasy stories is somehow more meaningful when it's shown through the lives of magical characters. Modern fantasy is organized in the categories of animal fantasy, toys and objects, tiny humans, peculiar characters and situations, imaginary worlds, magical powers, supernatural tales, time warp fantasies, and high fantasy, and novelized traditional tales.
Some of the characteristics of modern fantasy are magic.
Other worlds.
And good versus evil.
Heroism.
Special character types, such as the Wicked Witch of the West or Shrek.
And we also have fantastic objects, such as the mirror in Snow White and Seven Dwarfs, and the magic wand in Harry Potter.
And finally, we have science fiction, which roots its stories in science and magic.
When looking at the qualities of modern fantasy, stories must always meet the criteria for excellence in narrative fiction. The settings must be effective and are detailed and believable within the context of the story. Themes are meaningful, challenging the reader to ask questions about real life. Writing is rich and structures, syntax, and word choices are clear. Story events should be imaginative and logically consistent within the story world. Also, characters are multidimensional with consistent and logical behavior. Quality fantasy stories do not employ fantastic elements casually. In fact, fantasy is probably the most difficult genre to write because an author must create a new set of physical laws and then conform accurately to them. A tiny slip can destroy the credibility of a story.